The summer brought massive change at the Emirates, and with a whole host of injuries, it looks like the January transfer window may do too. But will there be a reunion on the cards for Unai Emery? Can Arsenal bring in a former World Cup winner? And will they be able to attract one of the hottest attacking talents in Europe at the moment? All that coming up in the next few minutes as I bring you 5 players that Arsenal could potentially sign in the January transfer window. First up, and we'll start with the obvious problems, and that is in the defensive area. When it comes to the right and left back, I actually think Arsenal have got some pretty good players. When Hector Bellerin's on form, he is definitely an attacking threat, and Sead Kolasinac has been a pretty good player since signing. It is in the backup positions where they don't have too much out there, but we'll focus on the centre of defence for now. Greek youngster Mavropanos definitely isn't near the top level just yet. Mustafi's nowhere near where he used to be, and at age 33 and returning from a massive injury layoff, Laurent Koscielny looks highly unlikely to return to his best form. Let's also not forget Rob Holding, who doesn't quite look the complete article just yet, although he is still young. This only really leaves Socrates Papastathopoulos as Arsenal's main defensive player, although he is slightly error prone as well. So who can they bring in? Well, that brings us to the first player on this list. In at number 1 is Mats Hummels. Now I know what you're thinking, someone with such a big name may not be able to go to Arsenal, especially because he's on ridiculous wage demands. However, Hummels' stock has massively fallen, and it was capped off with a terrible performance at this year's World Cup. The former World Cup winner has been a mainstay in Bayern Munich's team alongside Jerome Boateng. However, it looks like that Munich are willing to get rid of both of them, with Hummels being the cheaper option. It's been said that for around £33 million, any team can have him, and Chelsea and Arsenal have both been queuing up for him, but I think he'll fit in better at Arsenal. He's definitely got that Per Mertesacker feel to him, where the older and slower that he gets, he'll still be able to use his brain and be a pretty decent defender. It's alongside him though where they'll need a quicker, pacier centre-back, and that's just who we've got in at number 2. Now before we go any further, I know you're probably thinking, where's Callum Chambers on this list? Well, Arsenal are looking to bring him back from his loan at Fulham, however they'll have to pay a considerable fee, so it doesn't look like it's going to quite be happening. So, alongside Mats Hummels, they could look to Manchester United to bring in centre-back Eric Bailly. Now it's been no secret that Manchester United's defensive problems have been there for all to see, even if attacking-wise they look like they may be back on track under new manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. For me, the main problem seems to be that no one can form a solid defensive partnership. Whoever's playing with Chris Smalling, they're at a loss already because he really isn't that great. Phil Jones doesn't seem to be holding together a partner or his own form, and as for Victor Lindelof, well, not much can be expected of him just yet, as he's only recently returned to form and fitness. As for Eric Bailly, well, he always seems to be one step away from a mistake or a red card, as we saw over the Christmas period. But he could learn from a better, older, more quality centre-half. Now, I'm not saying he can't learn from the likes of Koscielny, but as we mentioned before, he's never going to reach his full potential, so he needs to develop a partnership. This is what's been happening at Manchester United. No one's been able to stick together. So I think if you put Bailly alongside Hummels at the back for Arsenal, they could have a far more settled defence and a chance of both of them improving their game. At the age of 24, Bailly may cost more than Hummels will. However, United, although may be reluctant to sell to their rivals, have done business with other big teams in the past, so this one could be on the cards. Now when I speak about bringing these next 2 midfielders, firstly it's to provide competition for who's already there, and secondly it's to provide cover for when Aaron Ramsey decides to leave. Now if Arsenal want to cash in on him, they'll be selling him in the January transfer window, and if they don't, he'll be leaving at the end of the year anyway, so it looks best that they should sign someone now. In the midfield at the moment, they have Granit Xhaka. Now, don't get me wrong, he's a good player on his day and he's formed a good partnership with Lucas Torreira. However, with all the injury problems, he's having to drop deep and is becoming a bit more of a squad player who's willing to fill in anywhere. He's even filled in at left back earlier in the season, which hasn't really helped him nail down a spot in centre midfield. Alongside him, Lucas Torreira at the moment is my signing of the season. He's been unbelievable and definitely holds on to a spot. As mentioned before, in these deeper 2 roles that Arsenal seem to play, Aaron Ramsey is going to be on the way out. They got rid of Jack Wilshere. Guendouzi has looked a fantastic signing, although he is young at the moment. And as for Mohamed El Neni, well, he's never really looked up to the job. He's definitely the kind of squad player that if Arsenal didn't have El Neni at the moment, they wouldn't look to go and buy him, and it looks like he'll probably be on his way out at the Emirates. So who do they need to bring in? Well, in my opinion, and from what I've heard from many Arsenal fans, they need to bring in a powerhouse. It's a position in the midfield they have not replaced since Patrick Vieira left. And who better to do the job than the athletic, lung-busting, fantastic all-round midfielder that is Abdoulaye Doucouré at Watford. Now, I know what you're thinking. Normally, a team such as Arsenal would attract a big name. probably wouldn't go to Watford, no offence to their fans. But in the summer, they went to Sampdoria and spent 25 million, which is a small amount in today's market, on Lucas Torreira, and he's turned out to be fantastic. So alongside him, Doucouré, well, I think it would work pretty well. As mentioned before, he's got the energy to go up and down the pitch, he's a massive bloke and extremely physical, and as shown for Watford, he's definitely not afraid of getting on the score sheet. But alongside Doucouré, if they don't bring him in, or even if they do, they could also go ahead and sign Ever Banega. Now, this move's been on the cards ever since Unai Emery moved to the Emirates because of the fantastic relationship they had together at Sevilla. Ever Banega is in his early 30s, which means that he'll only cost around 20 to 25 million. Apparently, that's Sevilla's evaluation of the player. His wage demands also won't be incredibly high, and his wage demands won't increase over the years as he's reaching the twilight years of his career. This move could make sense in every aspect, apart from the fact that he may be a little similar to Torreira. Having said that though, Torreira can't play every single game. We've seen around Europe and especially around the Premier League that having a thin squad, especially like Arsenal's North London rivals Tottenham, won't serve you well when you're fighting on many different fronts. Heading into the new year, Arsenal are well in the race for the top 4 in the Premier League, are still in the Europa League heading into the knockout rounds, and are still, of course, in the FA Cup. This means that they'll need a thick squad, and someone like Torreira, if he can't play every game, or if he gets injured, they need to be able to replace him. In steps Ever Banega. I think with the options of Guendouzi, Xhaka, Torreira, Doucouré and Banega, Arsenal could definitely have a midfield that's capable of challenging on all 3 remaining fronts. And lastly, we have definitely the most exciting attacking player on this list. That's because he's the only attacking player on this list, but he's been in fantastic form for Lille in France, and it's no wonder that Nicolas Pepe is hot on the name of every team's transfer list in the window. And for around 40 million, he looks like a bit of a bargain. Pepe has been in fantastic form this season in both scoring and assisting, and he could bring some real pace and energy to the Arsenal counter-attack. It also solves the problem of Aubameyang being pushed out wide. This means that he and Lacazette can focus on being in the centre, with Pepe doing the bits on the wings. It also means that Arsenal don't have to play Mesut Ozil out wide either, where he's not exceptionally quick and often cuts inside, maybe congesting the centre of the park. He'll be better in the number 10 role. As for Pepe, well, he'll definitely bring speed and attacking quality to the team, but as mentioned before, he can also bring an exciting counter-attacking style. They've already got Aubameyang up front, so can you imagine the 2 of them up front together? Pepe a little bit wider, Aubameyang through the middle, doing what he does best, which is score goals. So can you imagine this attack? You'd have Iwobi on the left, Pepe on the right, and Aubameyang up front. That's just enough firepower to take Arsenal back into the top 4 for sure. Alongside this, they could also have Mkhitaryan as a pretty decent backup. But looking one step further, what about next season when Reiss Nelson comes back on loan from Hoffenheim? Well, you could have him on the right, Pepe on the left, and Aubameyang up front. That's a speedy front 3 to contend with in any league, in any competition. As for Alexander Lacazette, well, it looks like his run on the bench will continue, and if Arsenal will bring in another attacking player, he may eventually end up moving on, despite the fact that whenever he comes on the pitch, he does score goals. This means that a balanced team with Iwobi out on the left, Pepe out on the right could be feeding Aubameyang even more and could be firing Arsenal back into the top 4. Now, normally Unai Emery does go with 3 centre midfielders, meaning there won't be room for Ozil in the number 10 role or even out wide on the right. Could this be the end for Mesut Ozil at Arsenal? Well, of course, you can let me know down in the comment section whether you think he'll be leaving, whether you think any of these transfer targets will actually sign for Arsenal, or whether you think I'm talking a lot of rubbish and they need to go for completely different players. Of course, let me know all your thoughts. Smash the like button whilst you're down there, and you can also click here to check out all of the other videos that we've got going on OneFootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.